What is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage. And in today's video, I'll talk about some changes. And I saw a video from my good buddy Racer X talking about a potential twin turbo V8, but that might not be the only thing technology wise that we see at Roadkill Nights. Now, this is probably going to be extremely interesting. Roll the intro. Perfect. Guys, before we get into today's video, we have to talk about the giveaways going on the channel. The Ram TRX and the Durango Hellcat are both up now in a combo situation where you can get the same amount of entries on both vehicles by either going through the website, which there is a 500x multiplier up there now today. When you pick up air fresheners and stuff that are sold and shipped by Amazon, you can't beat it. We also have the standalone scan tool, the Bluetooth scan tool, and the wireless CarPlay adapter. All of them have all different extra entry amounts that you'll get. You basically multiply $1 by those amounts. That's how many entries you get. It's pretty self-explanatory. You also can go over to the main website. You can pick up hats and shirts and things of that nature over at tksgarage.com. And you can get $1 for one entry on anything that's on the site there, and or the wallpaper packs that are also over on the merch store, like we used to have it on the regular store here. You can do the same thing there as well. All you need to do is go to the links in the description down below, and those links will let you get in on either one of those. You can go either through picking up, the scan tools or things of that nature, and the 500x multiplier is on tk'sgarage.bigcartel.com. Or you can go through tk'sgarage.com, pick up merch, wallpapers, whatever you want. But either or will get you entered appropriately. Links are in the description down below. The combo, in terms of being able to get in on both, is up until July 21st. So what is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage. So I saw Racer X's video, and look, Racer X has some of the same relationships that myself and Butter and OC Motivator do in terms of being able to talk to the executives on a regular basis. I'll shoot a text message here or there. I try not to be up the executives' ass in terms of, like, I'm not asking them a billion tons of questions, because most of the stuff I get, or most of the information I learn, doesn't come from the executives. And most of the time they're like, how the fuck did you figure this out? Or how the hell did you get this? Shout out to the boys on the security team. Anyways, I need to leave them alone. They're really going to be like, fuck you, TK. But I saw what Racer X was talking about, and I saw you mentioned that we talked about the 5.2 liter Hemi, which could be coming. We know for a fact that there is development on 426 engines. That's a real thing. And if you go back about a month and a half ago, maybe it was 2 months ago, Butter the Insider talked about, because the only thing that my sources were able to find were naturally aspirated and supercharged development of stuff that was going on with the 426. There's actually Butter sources and the people that Butter deals with that learned more about the turbocharged versions of that engine. I think some of the stuff, I think that's 100% there. The issue comes in with, and Racer X covered this, lag. But I could see why they also want to go that way. I've had discussions where Matt had asked me directly, why do I like my twin turbo V8 BMWs, right? And I think I had a conversation with Tim about this as well. And it was very simple. The F10 M5 and the F90, for that matter as well, the previous generation M5, really doesn't have that turbo lag. Now, there's ways that you can address that if you end up getting that. You have like electric assist stuff that, like Chevy does with the ZR1X, for example. Um, but that makes the car more complicated. And I don't think it's like what Tim said in multiple interviews. It's not a vehicle that you're going to leave and pass down, to another generation, right? Just because it's not going to be there. That technology is going to get old. It's going to get brittle. It's going to break. Think Jaguar. And you're going to be SOL. You're going to be screwed. So I don't think that's the case. And this is like why, when people ask me, like, why am I such a big F10 M5 guy? Why do I love those cars? Yes, it's a hot V configuration. Yes, they had a lot to learn. It was engineering marvel when it came out. It was a disaster for 2013 until 2013, 14. They started addressing it in 15 and 16, like all those. It's the last year of that hot V, which it then went into the F90. So same engine, but they addressed a lot of the issues with like the turbos leaking, coolant leaking in the valley, all of that stuff, and what you're going to have to do when you come out with a new engine. And I think Tim and them are figuring that out with the Hurricane. I'm going to get into that here in a second because I think there's a way. And I think they're probably going to do this, that they make the Hurricane relevant or where people will want it. And remember, it all comes down to sound, right? Yeah, I think we'll get to that in a second. But when you have the turbo lag, they can literally learn something from BMW. Like I told them, I showed them my times. You guys watch me. I drag race here on YouTube. I post it on Instagram or whatever. You guys see me run my M5s, whether the green one or the white competition. And that car, that's a 10-second car in the quarter. It's a extremely fast rear wheel drive only monster. The Charger's heavier than my car. That is true. Not by much though. It's a big 4-door sedan, and if you don't know, I keep a jack in my. I don't take none of my shit out when I race. Tools, jack, all that shit's in. Full interior. Fuck, suitcase is probably in the back seat. Anybody will tell you that's ever seen me, if you look at the videos, you can go back and check my Instagram. See, like my car be full of shit, and I'll be running. Don't care. That said, I think they could do some modifications to the 5.7. It's not going to really upgrade it much unless they dual overhead cam that, and as Racer X also said, it's not really a full Hemi. It's like a half a Hemi, but it's all branding, which I'm fine with. But people love the sound of that engine. I think if they did come with a 5.7, or maybe it's a 5 something else, right? Maybe they lower the liters, or maybe they go up higher. Maybe they go back old school to 5.9. Maybe they bore that thing out, do a couple things, make it a 5.9, put turbos on it, and say, hey, look at this technology. Or look what we did with this engine. It could work. I think they're going to do something more similar to like what I'm talking about with, which I know you guys hate that I talk about BMWs on this channel. I understand that, but I drive them. They're fast. They beat the shit out of my friends in Hellcats. So sorry. I will say that it wouldn't surprise me to see them use like a hot V design with a 426. And if that happens, boy, if they don't come out with a TK edition of this engine, I'm going to be mad. But I think we could see that. I think we could see a twin turbo 426 for sure. Could I see them boring out a 5.7, doing something with a 5.7, maybe making it a 5.9 and putting turbos on it? Sure, that's one way to half-ass upgrade it while you're waiting to get the 5.2 liter 318, ready for prime time. We know that they're working on those platforms, right? That's a foregone conclusion. We know that for sure. The one that I don't think anybody's talking about, and I think may shock a lot of people, is, and I've heard it. I've heard the excuse of, well, superchargers are not efficient. I remember what was it? The GNX, right? I remember that Buick with the supercharger beating straight up 426s. I don't know if you remember those days, but I remember the 3.8 liter V6 supercharged from GM spanking shit with 426s in it. You know how they make the Hurricane relevant? You know how they make the Hurricane desirable? This sound. You put that sound on a Hurricane engine and it's able to handle the amount of boost or a little bit better boost, and maybe they can push more boost than what they would get with a turbo. I don't think so, but let's see. And they supercharge it. Yes, it's going to be less efficient, but you know what it's going to do? It's going to bring a ton of power. It's going to eliminate the turbo lag. It's going to instantly be there. And I think then they go, hey, look what we did with this 6-cylinder. Are they going to worry about not being able to hear the exhaust? No, because everybody's going to hear wah, 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 right out of the front of that car. I never heard anybody say, oh, you know, I want an LS because the 3.8 liter supercharged sounds like crap. Everybody's so used to how a Hemi sounds that's why the Hurricane gets shit on. As somebody who's not just a Mopar guy, because I am, I love my Scat Pack. I love, you know, the trucks. Chrysler 300 is probably going to be something in my next wheelhouse in terms of a car with a supercharger that I'm going to daily. But that inline six power, the stuff that you can get out of it, and especially if they supercharge that thing, oof, that thing could be a monster, an absolute monster. And I think it solves two issues for them. It solves the sound issue because you're going to hear it, and I guarantee you they're going to build it so that that supercharger is extremely loud. Okay? So you're going to hear that damn thing. And I think if they do a couple more things, like, I don't know where they're going to put it in terms of under the car, but if you go 3.5 inch, maybe through, you know, probably what you're going to have to do, 3.5 inch exhaust all the way back. You know, you're probably going to have to get some CARB approved or EPA approved now that that's going on, because now CARB can go suck dicks. SEMA approved high flow cats for that thing, so that the sound can actually come down the pipe and it doesn't sound like a fucking weed eater. Yeah, I think if you do that, and I think if you put a supercharger on it and that supercharger makes a lot of noise, yeah, you've solved the problem of the Hurricane being gay, as some people are trying to call that engine, okay? Or not Mopar enough for them. And then when you take it out there and you take that Hurricane, which can handle a ton of boost, we already know what that thing can do, you know, and you beat a few Demon 170s with it in that Charger body, and you beat a couple Hellcats and built Hellcats with it, and you have it like looking stock with a full interior, yeah, people will sign up to buy that car. Yeah. And it's crazy. It really is. When you really think about it, I mean, I get where the Mopar faithful are coming from. You guys want what you want, and I'm right there with you. I didn't move to Dodge or start buying Dodge products for BMW shit. I already had that. You know what I'm saying? That said, I don't think why a twin turbo inline six is right? A supercharged inline six, while inefficient and probably going to get worse gas mileage, nobody cares. It all comes down to that sound. You modify that exhaust, high flow cats, supercharge that car, people might be interested. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.